Hello plant lovers and welcome back to my channel. Also welcome to my channel, a few new subscribers that I have. For those of you that don't know, my name is Bruno. I'm an Australian of Lithuanian descent and I've been living in Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania, for the last 30 years. I'm going to do a little bit of a different video today. I'm going to call it my October favorites. We're almost halfway through autumn. It's getting colder outside. I've moved, I think 14 or 15 plants that I keep outside in the summer, back inside, all up against south-facing windows. And hopefully they will all survive as they usually have until next spring when they will go outside. Mainly they're sort of like potted citrus trees, an olive tree, an avocado tree, some adeniums, which are the desert rose. They need to come inside because it's too cold. Some crassulas, jade plants, a green one, a variegated one. So quite a few plants that have come inside. Now, very difficult for me to do my favorites because they're all my favorites. If they weren't my favorites, I would have given them away or I would have put them in the compost bin. That's life for some plants, but no, haven't put any away in the compost bin. In fact, I did have a Strelitzia Nicolai, the bird of paradise plant, the popular one. It used to grow in the corner there, but all of its leaves, apart a couple of lower ones, they all had reached the ceiling, they were bending on the ceiling. So they're now in a restaurant by their main window. And there they have high ceilings and high windows. So hopefully they'll do well there. So I've selected a few plants that I may not have shown you or may not have shown you for quite a while. I have one particular plant that I've got a question on, and maybe you clever subscribers, especially those that are into Hoyas, will be able to help me out with it. But yeah, well, I'll do some of the smaller, well, I don't have many small ones here, they're all quite big ones, so I'm going to be testing out my muscles today. One of my favorites at the moment is, and this is fairly new, I think I've had this for a couple months. This is a lipstick plant, but it's the one that's called Thai Pink. It has beautiful pink flowers. And I love this plant. It's growing very nicely in a very airy mix, which I've mixed a lot of pon into. So it's sort of like 50-50 pon and 50-50 sort of like airy potting mix. The standard one that we use in our homes for various things. So that's nice and airy. And it's actually in a self-watering pot where you can see the level of the water. And I love these pots. This is not a plug for this company, but I get these from Temu because I haven't found them anywhere else. I like them because I can see how much water is in there. I don't have to look for the little indicator, which sometimes gets hidden by the leaves. But I presume, once this starts to bush down, it will grow much nicer. So I have this hanging on my IKEA shelving unit, the metal shelving unit that I have, and it's very, very close to a south-facing window. And it gets grow lights because it is overcast today. We had thick fog this morning. It's Saturday, is it the 11th? 11th of October, and at the moment it's 11 degrees outside. When I went out for a walk with my dog, it showed that it was 7 degrees, but felt like 3 degrees. We did have frosts a few weeks ago, and that was the sign that a lot of my plants that I keep outside had to come inside because they wouldn't have survived the frosts. So yeah, I'm quite happy with this plant, I like it. It seems to be growing quite well because it wasn't that big when I got it and I've only had it for a couple of months, so it's getting quite a lot of light. Now I have to put this out of the way because I will be struggling with the bigger plants as it comes along, as they come. It's just to fortify myself with a little bit of coffee. Oh, yeah, for those of you that are new, I have quite a few grow lights in my house, 3 floors, where I have my IKEA, the metal shelves. Here on the 2nd floor and up on the 3rd floor, where is the guest bedroom, is my Hoya, I call it my Hoya room. The metal shelves there. Underneath the metal shelves with, I've attached mother grow lights, the long ones, underneath each shelf so that the light goes down. Otherwise, the basic other grow lights I use is Sansi lights. They're the only 2 I use. I've seen that there's quite a few new grow lights on the market, so I might have to give them a try. But I'm very happy with the ones that I'm using. I don't have any problem. The mother light is no problem. They're all on smart plugs, and I can just set timers, or what I've actually done is on my phone, I've set one grow light that is what I call in my setup the master grow light. And if I set on my phone, whatever I set for that one, if I turn it on, all of the other grow lights will turn on. So that's, if I turn that one off, all of the no, sorry, it doesn't. I have to turn them off all individually, but that's not a problem. It's just you've got your phone in your hand and tick, 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 and they're all off. So there are 2 types of grow lights, mother lights and Sansi lights. Not plugging them. I'm not really into advertising things, but I like to share what I use. Another plant that I have that I'd like to show, which I probably haven't shown for quite a while, it's an Alocasia cuprea, Red Secret. Beautiful plant. I wish the leaves would be bigger. I've had this plant since November 2023, so coming up on 2 years, and I bought it locally in a big box store. I would like the leaves. I do like the leaves because look at the other side. The other side is a beautiful, 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 beautiful reddish color, burgundy color, beautiful leaves. I have seen this, and this plant, I actually bought it with 2 plants in it, and there's actually 3 here now, which means one of its little corms have sprouted. But it's growing in pon, self-watering in pon. Now, with all my self-watering plants, this is my way of doing things. I'm not saying it's the best way of doing things. I don't water through the little hole in the bottom. I actually top water everything so that the water touches any of the roots at the top first, and then it trickles down into the bottom. But it's lovely, as you can see. They're all facing one way, which I suppose is a good thing because I like to see the leaves. And it's about 2 meters from the south-facing window on the side, so it will get light, filtered light through some of the plants in front of it for at least half a day, and then it's in bright indirect light. And in the evening, or if it's like cloudy now and foggy it was, I have all my grow lights on, so it does actually face in the direction of the windows or the nearest grow light. But I think I'll have to repot this into a bigger pot, but you know, as I get to the bigger pots, you'll understand the trouble you have with the bigger pots. Try lifting them when they're full of pon. Oh, good luck. Here we go. The cuprea, Alocasia cuprea. I would really like these leaves to get bigger, and that's why I think I might have to repot it to a bigger pot. Put this one slightly aside. Sorry for being out of camera. Now, there's a plant here I want to just move to a different place, so let's get to it. It's sort of in my favorites. It's a Hoya Sunrise, which I got in June 2023 locally as a cutting. Now, it's supposed to be Hoya Sunrise. It's a cutting. So this is 2 years of growth. So you can see it's beautiful. No problems growing. Now, Hoya Sunrise. Those of you that are in the know, write me a message down below. Oh, that sounded poetic. Um, Hoya sunrise is supposed to sun stress when it gets a lot of bright light or direct sunlight. Really? Really? I've had this plant for 2 years. For a year, it was in the Hoya room on the shelf, facing south, and it was closest to the window. No sun stress. So I moved it down here on the second floor, middle floor, up against the south-facing window. If it's not much light, it would get grow lights. And did it sun stress in the year it spent down here? No. The only thing it's done is sort of, has these sort of little, you can see these sort of brownie patches. Now, is that sun stressing or is that sunburn? Is it getting too much sun? Because this is sunrise. It's supposed to sun stress beautifully and have beautiful red, crimson red leaves. I don't know what the problem is, why it's not sun stressing, but growing healthily. And I spotted the other day, it has a spent peduncle here. Here we are, a spent peduncle. When I spotted it, about half the buds had blasted, they were on the floor, but the rest were still hanging on, and I thought, oh, it might flower. And the unopened buds were a beautiful, beautiful yellow color, very similar to this t-shirt actually. And I thought, oh, that's interesting, because I thought Hoya sunrise, the flowers were pinkish. Maybe the closed flower on some of them, maybe some of them have yellowish flowers, whitish flowers, pinkish flowers, but maybe the outer part of the blooms that hadn't opened were yellowish, and when they open up, they might be slightly different inside. Anyway, it didn't flower. It blasted them all off. I did have another Hoya, and spoiler alert, I think I'll do my next video on Hoyas, because there's been some struggles and some successes. In fact, one of the successes is my Hoya calistophylla. One of you people suggested, because it just wouldn't grow, it just stayed the same size it was for at least a year and did nothing. And then one of you suggested put it up against a south-facing window, and I did that, and it has exploded into growth. And the little devil secretly flowered twice this summer season, because all I found was the peduncle with no flowers on it and dead flowers on the floor. As is usual with Hoyas, you find the dead flowers on the floor. I didn't spot it because the Hoya calistophylla is in the front row on the shelf, and there are other Hoyas behind it. And when it's facing, and all its leaves are facing the front, and it sticks out a peduncle in front of those leaves, and I'm looking at it from behind, I don't see them. Only when I'm watering, and when I was watering them, I thought, you little devil, you flowered, and I never enjoyed the sight of the calistophylla flowering. Anyway, we'll do a Hoya update soon. So if any of you can tell me, why is this Hoya sunrise not sun stressing with its beautiful crimson colors? Because the leaves look like a Hoya sunrise. Mind you, I did buy a cutting from a local person, and they gave me a little label that said Hoya sunrise, but what can I know? But the plant itself is healthy. I mean, you can tell. This was a little cutting, 2 years of growth, boom, beautiful looking plant. Where's the sun stressing? It's one of the reasons why I got it. I didn't buy it for the blooms, but I've looked up the photos and it has beautiful blooms, but no. Anyway, this is the one that's the problem. Now, we slightly get to larger pots. Now the next plant I have had since September 2023, 2 years. I have seen a lot of comments about this plant, even some well-known YouTubers and growers of indoor plants and whatever, that they would never grow this plant again. They had too much trouble. It's no good for a beginner, whatever. I'll share with you my experience. My experience. Often you've seen this plant in the background. Oh God, look at that. Look at that. This is a plant, according to some experts on YouTube, that is difficult to grow. Well, sorry guys. In my experience, and this is the Schismatoglottis wellichii. September 2023 I got this. I think I got it from a big box store. I just have a label here. Where did I get you from? Yes, well, from a garden center. Yep. Now, look at that. Look at that. Is there anything wrong with this plant? Look at that. Look at the size. Look at the size of that leaf. Look, there's my hand. Beautiful. Beautiful plant. Beautiful plant. Now, oh God, look at that. I think I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 different plants growing in this little pot. I haven't repotted it. I might have to repot it because it's getting a bit big for its pot. It is growing in, we'll just put it here, just to let you salivate. No, here we go. We'll let you salivate. I grow it in pon. I have it in a self-watering pot. As you can probably see, it has some roots coming out of the bottom. But this self-watering pot I've got in another pot which always has water in it. Well, I try to make sure it always has water in it, I must confess. Now the thing is with this Schismatoglottis, I think I read, my memory serves me right, that these plants grow on the banks of rivers, on the banks of lakes, etc. And so sometimes, quite often, they are inundated with water, so that the bottom part of the plant is underwater. I think this is actually my second one. I think the first one is now up in the garden in heaven. I think until I got it right. I think the first one actually croaked. And this is the second one I got in September 2023. Yeah, I think the first one but I think the first one was sort of like a rescue plant. So I don't think it made it. Yeah, if I remember correctly. Now, it flowers profusely. It has flowers very similar to the alocasia. I just snipped them off because they're insignificant and I don't want it producing seed. As I said, it's growing in pon. And I can't even stick my finger in anywhere in the pot, so I think it's full of roots. It's going to need a repot for sure soon, but I don't see that it's suffering at all. And I am of the belief that if it's not broken, don't fix it. If I see it suffering, it's never had pests. Never had pests. Now, I have heard and I have seen on YouTube that it is a spider mite magnet. Well, in Lithuania, you have to spit 3 times over your shoulder, but knock on wood. I've never had pests on this plant. Never had pests. In fact, because I think about half my plants are in pon or its equivalent, I don't think I've had... what are those horrible little fungus gnats? I don't think I've had fungus gnats for over a year. Another story upstairs in the Hoya room with the Hoyas and mealybugs. Different story. We'll get into that on another video. Some of my alocasias have sort of had a little bit of red spider mite, but that's red spider mites, nothing agricultural soap, just get a sponge and you just wipe the leaves down and it's fine. And this has, as I said, touch wood, it's never had anything. There are no mealybugs, there are no thrips, there are no red spider mites, no nothing. Absolutely lovely. Now, What I would recommend with this plant, I would like to get some other species of the same one because there are some slight different colorings, darker leaves, more silvery coloring, striping on it. We'll have to find one more to at least give it a try to see if it grows as well as this one does. A couple of things I would suggest if you want to grow Schismata glottis. What is it? Wallii, Wallacea, Walcheriae? Where are you? Wallichii. Wallichii. I would keep it somewhere where you see it every day. And I'll tell you why. Even though this is in a self-watering pot and it does have a level indicator of the water, but because all the leaves are like that, try and find the indicator. It's a bit difficult, but with this particular plant, it's a little bit like the peace lily. You will notice from time to time the leaves starting to go down. Now, sometimes before I go to bed, after watching TV, I see this plant right in front of me and I see the little leaves starting to droop down. I think, it'll be fine. I'll water it in the morning. When I water it in the morning, all the leaves have drooped down to the bottom. Now, normally you would think, well, that's it. It's given up the ghost, time to get rid of it. Don't. Just water it profusely again, and in about 20 minutes time, as if by magic, all the leaves grow up again, are standing up again. A little bit like the peace lily. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing, because I was away on holiday recently and I had friends looking after my house for me. And this plant, I was told, watch it. If you just see the leaves going down, water it straight away. Don't wait, water it straight away. And in actual fact, I think this is the only one they had to water. The time I was away over here in Lithuania, it was a warm, humid and very rainy 10 days or so. So the room humidity was quite high, and they didn't have to water any of my other plants. When I came back, no, all my plants looked fine. This one looked fine. Everything looked fine. And I have noticed now, normally if it's like summer warm weather and I have the windows open, or at least one window open on this floor where a lot of my plants are, then the humidity drops, especially at night when I switch off the humidifier down to like 45%, and during the day I get it up to 55%. Well, now that it's cold outside and I have to close the windows, otherwise the cold breezes, drafts are going to seriously affect in a negative way my plants. It's currently 63%. I do have my humidifier on and I do get up to 65, 66%, which is perfect for my plants. I mean, none of my plants, especially in this new place where I'm living, they don't suffer during the winter. They keep growing. They don't stop. But I think, my personal opinion, this Schismata glottis is so easy, so easy. As I said, it had 2 or 3 plants in the vase when I got it, and now there's like 10 of them, and I can't even push my finger in the pot. So I really do think it's time for a repot. But I have to find a nice, and what I like about this particular cover pot, it's sort of on a stand. So it looks lovely, sort of elevated when it's on the shelf somewhere at the back there or wherever. So I have to find another version of this pot that's big, and a bigger cover pot, and repot this. But oh God, I love this plant. This has always been my favorite. Okay, I do have some more favorite. They're all my favorites, but this is I look at this one every day to make sure that it's, and what does the level say? Oh, the level says it's nearly empty. So, but when I took out the pot just now, I noticed this. Yep, there is water in the bottom, but I'll have to give it a water after filming this. So, look. Don't be afraid of this plant. Give it a chance. As I said, it's in pond, in self-watering. Watch the plant. It'd be better if you had a meter that you could see what the level is, and don't let it dry out. Don't let it ever dry out. If it dries out, you can almost kiss the plant goodbye. So I would look. No, you can't go wrong with this plant. No, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Now, all the next ones I'm going to show you, they're going to be heavy. They will be heavy. I'm going to show you the very first anthurium I ever got. And this one is heavy. It's heavy. Oi. And you can already see by its leaves, yep, beautiful. And this, this is an Anthurium clarinervium, which I got from a coffee shop. When I was in my old apartment, across the street, there was a coffee shop, and on the side, they used to sell indoor plants. And I got this in April 2023. So I've had it for quite a while. I have actually, it has a inflorescence, it has a bloom coming out here. I will cut this off. I'm not propagating it, but I have propagated this plant, and I think I cross-pollinated with itself, and I think I got like 6 or 7 plants which I gave away. I think yes, I gave away, or I sold. I can't remember. No, I didn't throw them out, but it's growing in pon, and it has a top layer of sphagnum moss, so it does keep moist. Now, not easy to lift, but oh, it is lovely. It is lovely. Now, I had a leaf that just came out. Where are you? I think it's you. I think this one here is my newest leaf. This is one of its older leaves, but it's okay. Right. No, you are my newest leaf. Yes, you are. Look, it's still not deep green yet. So it's still hardening up. This is the newest leaf. It puts them out regularly from time to time. Of course, I have trouble keeping them upright, but hey, it is growing again. 2 meters from my south-facing window, and it is on the southwest side of my room against a wall, so it does get very bright light for the first half of the day, and then the rest of the day it gets bright indirect light. I didn't have any problems moving it to that position from its old spot, but yeah, some of the older leaves, and it's always the older leaves, did get a few brown spots, but I'm not worried about that when it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I've had absolutely no problem growing this, which from what I see on YouTube and on the internet, it's not a plant that causes a lot of problems. It's very easy to grow. I love this plant, and it was my very first adventure into anthuriums. And I do love anthuriums, but they do take up time. All my anthuriums are you in pon? Yes, you are in pon. I know that all my alocasias are in pon. I think my anthuriums are in pon too. But they've got sphagnum moss on the top, all in self-watering. Okay, get you out of the way, because there's others coming now. Get rid of that anthurium. Oh no. Okay, there's a slightly smaller one. I got this plant recently. Yes. I got this plant recently. Look at that, beautiful. Well, Dieffenbachia reflector. Got it in August. I think I bought it for myself as a birthday present. It does have a main plant and it has 3 little plantlets coming out of the soil and 1 little plantlet coming off the main stem. Now, it has beautiful leaves. It has 2 leaves coming out at the moment. Looks a little bit like a Aglaonema camouflage, which I don't have very good success with. But this is its new leaf that's coming out right now, a bit lighter. It'll turn a bit darker. The bottom ones are putting out leaves. It's in a plant scraper pot, which has a bit of the aeration around the sides, quite big. I put it in the big pot straight away because when I got this plant, I bought it locally and it was supposed to come in 10 days time. Yeah, in 10 days time. Well, after 2 weeks about buying it, I found out I was going on holidays for a while and I let the company know, look, can you delay sending me this plant until such and such a date when I'll be back home and I'll be able to collect it from the courier. I said, no problems. So came back from holidays, it still hadn't arrived. I wrote to them and anyway, when the plant arrived, it was not in the best state. The top half, and I thought it was a goner, the top half was more or less at a 45-degree angle, bent over 45-degree angle. So I suspected in the shipping, because the box it was in had no mention on the outside that it was take care, be careful, plants inside, this way up, don't rough handle it or whatever. No, there was nothing on the outside to suggest that there was plants inside and be careful. And this is why I think it got crumpled up. It must have been, have you seen how they load baggage on planes? I'm sure the couriers do the same. Open the door of their van and chuck the box in as long as it doesn't say glass or fragile inside. And I complained to the company. And the lady owner asked me could I send a photo, what it looks like? I sent the photo and nothing. No reply whatsoever. This is from a local supplier, online shop. I think they have an actual physical shop, not sure, but no reply. 2 months later, August, September, October, November, 3 months later, nearly. No reply. So I thought I will repot it in a big pot, because I thought, well, it's got a main plant, it's got 5 babies growing out all around it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 babies. So I'll put it in a bigger pot. Gave it good aeroid mix. And I put it not right up near my south-facing window, and I turned the part that was leaning down away from the window, hoping that the bright light on that side will encourage this plant to do its thing and slowly straighten out. And you know what? It did. It did. I don't have any problems with it because it was bent from here in one direction at about 45 degrees. It was terrible, absolutely terrible. I was ready to throw the plant out and ask for my money back. It was horrible, but no, didn't give up on it. Potted it up, big pot, put it by the window so that it would get the strongest light possible without being scorched by the sun. And voila, it's come back to life. And I really love this because I love the colors on the reflector. As I said, Aglaonema pictum tricolor. Oh, is it still alive? Yeah, well, yes, one alive. It has one leaf. Had 5 when I got it. In self-watering, but no. Anyway, digressing. This. I do like Dieffenbachs. In my old apartment, I had a Dieffenbachia that grew, 2.5 meters tall in one season. Because there I used to have a skylight above it. And it would grow every summer way up. Every summer I would chop it in half, put the top half in water, let it root, and then I would pot up the top half and have a nice plant again with beautiful big leaves, and whatever was on the bottom part just went in the compost bin. I couldn't be bothered doing anything with it. But yeah, I had never had problems growing Dieffenbachs. They always do well. So yep, that's the Dieffenbachia reflector. That was this year's birthday present. From me to me. Who better to give me a gift than myself? Okay, we have three large plants. Oh dear, look, okay. We'll move this one first. You can come up on the table. Oh, yes, people. This alocasia I have had for quite some time. Just love to go. This is an Alocasia Calidora Pink Dragon. I got this, still in the old apartment, in November 2022. So it's nearly 3 years old. It's also growing in pon, in self-watering, in a Lechuza pon pot. So I have the indicator. Yes, they like to be damp and they like to be fed. So I do feed my alocasias. Every time I water them, I give them either full strength fertilizer as per instructions or half strength fertilizer. It doesn't really matter because they do like to be fed. Now this is obviously you can see why it's called the pink dragon, because it has pink stems. Yep. And it just grows 2 feet, maximum 3 feet away, about a meter away from the south-facing window. It has, the main plant is here, and I've got 2 little ones coming out on the sides, which I presume are corms that sprouted. Oh. Now, listen, I do have one crazy leaf, and that's this one. See the colors on it? Now, it's always like that. Now, that particular leaf is one of the original leaves this plant had when I moved to this new home I have. And I put this very close to the south-facing window. And the only leaf that reacted to the much brighter light that it was getting is this one. And if I look at the stem here, it is, on this particular stem, it's the oldest leaf. So it reacted the most to the sunlight, to the strong light. Difficult to keep in an upright position, so you use one of these sort of like octopus things where you can just clamp the leaves around and it'll stand more upright. But yeah, lovely plant. Lovely plant. Let's see if we can put it on the floor and you can get a better idea of the leaves. Oh, look, here I am. This is the top of that. Look, they are so, see how they're shining? They're so shiny. They're sort of, they sort of remind me of like crinkled lettuce. But look, they're just beautiful. Look. Which one of you is the newest one? I suspect it's you. Because all the other leaves that have been on the plant for a while have got this like crinkly crinkly leaves. He hasn't gone crinkly yet, but look, that's there and there's still quite a lot of leaf left. So this is the pink dragon. Absolutely no problem growing this. No problem growing this whatsoever. Whatsoever. Oh, as I said, in pond, in self-watering, gets a lot of light. And as far as I'm aware, alocasias, okay, because I do move it around, rotate it from time to time, so its leaves are sort of all over the place. But I do have an alocasia, whatever it's called. It's the one that has the mottled, anyway, it doesn't matter. They like it when the light is from the top, but then you will have all the leaves facing the top. And you won't see the nice leaves. So I prefer to have them where it's getting light from the side and all the leaves will face one, eventually will face one particular side. You can slowly rotate it from time to time, but yeah. Now, we're just going from bigger to heavier. Here's another alocasia. Now this particular alocasia, this is Alocasia wentii. Now, I did study Latin for 5 years. When you have an I, two I's at the end of a word, you do have to pronounce them. It's not Alocasia wenti, it's Alocasia wentii. Schismatoglottis, Wallichii. It's not Wallichi, it's Wallichii. You have to pronounce both letters. In Latin, every letter that's in the word has to be pronounced. There are no silent letters in Latin. So, this is, what did I call this one? It's also known as the New Guinea shield. Well, I should have known from its common name, New Guinea shield. Look at this. I think this is the second to last newest leaf. Again, look at the beauty. It has this dark purple. Does it show up on the camera? Dark purple underside. Beautiful. Beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves. And the 7th one, this is just too heavy to lift up. 7th one is just coming out here. Oh, and look, when that leaf is coming out, it really is a lovely dark color, dark ruby red or whatever underneath. Now this one is always difficult for me to keep straight because it is just so heavy. And as you can see, all the leaves are leaning towards the window. It is the closest to the south-facing window. It's less than a foot away, I think. It's never been sun-bleached, never been sunburnt, whatever. But, you know, I think I've mentioned this before. I have triple glazed windows. So the ultraviolet rays that are coming through the window gets filtered out somewhat by the glass and it reduces the intensity of the light. So I suspect that's why my plants are not burning to a crisp. None of them are. None of them are. Anyway, this is the, what is it called? New Guinea shield. Beautiful plant. I think it also, because of its size, will need to be repotted, and I want them to stay in pots because these two are okay. The two I've just shown you, because they're in big pots and they're on a stand that has wheels, so that, you know, easy to move. And there's the little jungle by the window. That's where my little Benji goes and hides. Oh, he loves sitting on the second floor window, looking outside at the footpath beyond the little garden we have and watch the children go by. Goes crazy when he sees people with dogs go by. has to run down the first floor and outside into the garden to give his comments to the dog that's going past. But yeah, these are getting big for me, and I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like, okay, it's autumn now. It's a bit late, but maybe next year when the spring comes up, I might just ask my friends to take me on a trip to, there's by the coast in Palanga, and not far from Palanga, there's a couple of manor houses that have huge winter gardens attached to them. And I think they would like it in there. Because they're getting so big here. And I could try some other varieties. Okay, I've seen these. I love what they look like. But there's a couple more I would like to get. Yep. But beautiful alocasias. And as I said, all my alocasias are in Lechuza pon. You can use whatever pon you like, or similar substrate. All in self-watering, and I just, once the level starts going down, I have to go crazy watering them. Now, watering, I use only reverse osmosis water. And that's one of the first things I installed when I moved into this new place of mine, is a reverse osmosis water filter, and I use it for watering my plants. I use it for my coffee machine, and I use it for my kettle to boil water. But everywhere else I use tap water, because the reverse osmosis water is almost like distilled water. There's nothing in it. So I even drink the water out of the tap because it's got lots of minerals and salts in it and whatever. But for the plants, no. And the reason I use osmosis water is and use only the filtered osmosis water, is in my old apartment we had a water softener connected to the mains water supply in the building, in the apartment block. And what I found out is that water softeners use salt to soften the water. Now, if you're watering your plants with water that's been softened with salt, the sodium salt is terrible for the roots. It confuses the roots. The plant begins to think that it does not need a drink. This is like us human beings walking around the pyramids in plus 50 degrees Celsius in the shade and saying, no, I don't need a drink. My body will tell me when I need a drink. Well, your body won't tell you when you need a drink. You'll be collapsed in a coma on the floor, and it might on the sand in the desert, and it might be too late. It's the same with plants. If there's too much sodium in the water that they get being watered, the plant thinks, its roots think the plant doesn't need water, and it won't take up water. And I had lost quite a few plants until I switched to just the simplest filtered water I could use in the apartment, until I moved here and I got reverse osmosis water, and I've never had a problem with most of my plants since that time. Of course, if you're using reverse osmosis water, I said it's like distilled water, you do have to fertilize. I fertilize every time I water, and I, from time to time, change the water. Various fertilizers. I think I might talk about that in my Hoya update in my next video. But I do change them, and I sometimes, like during the summer, I water them at the recommended strength. Now that the growing season is slowing down, and when we're talking about growing season slowing down, for me, it means the growing season is slowing down out there on the other side of the window, especially when the snow comes. Not in here. It doesn't slow down. It might slow down, but some of the plants show no difference in their growth, whether it's summer, winter, spring, or fall, or autumn. Yeah. No difference whatsoever. So if I notice that the plants are still thriving as if it was the growing season, I water them with the normal full strength fertilizer. If I see that this plant is taking a little snooze during the cooler weather, it'll get half strength or just a little bit of fertilizer, just a little bit, especially those that are in pon, because there's no organic material in there. The plant relies on the water for its nutrients to survive. So you have to give them nutrients. Now, I want to show you 2 more plants. I'm babbling. Oh God, I've got to get this one from over here. Oh, we'll turn you around this way. Now this, I gotta find it. It's an Alocasia longiloba. I think it's a variegated or a mint or something like that. I got it this year in September at the plant swap from Svetlana. It had these 3 leaves and it's been pushing out this leaf for the last 3 weeks. Very slow to push out this leaf. Of course, these 3 little leaves here that it came with, they're all facing, they're facing the window. So I have turned the plant around by the window so that we can even out the dance of the leaves. Again, this I have put in a big Lechuza pot with Lechuza pon and self-watering indicator, whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing, and it doesn't have any pests. It doesn't have any no spider mites, no thrips, no nothing. So will be very interested to see, because I remember the Alocasia over there, Alocasia Sabrina. No, it's not growing the way I want it to, but that's why it's not in my favorites. This is a favorite because it has a stem that looks, I can see that as it matures, it gets a little bit like Alocasia Sabrina stems. It gets this zebra type stripes on it. So I'm really glad. You'll be glad to hear, Svetlana, if you're watching this. It's putting out a new leaf. Look, it's lovely. Lovely. So we'll see. I mean, I don't, if I can see that it's got these are just young leaves, smaller leaves, I can see a little bit of variegation there. Yes, I can see a little bit of variegation in there. It's not very pronounced, but maybe it will get pronounced as the plant gets older and the leaves get bigger and longer, because it wouldn't be called longiloba, which just means long leaves. So we'll see what happens with this one. But yep, success at the plant swap. The other plants I all got from Svetlana, which I showed you in a recent video, yeah, they're all alive and well. The Hoyas rooting up in stratum. I can see through the plastic cups that there are some little roots forming. So there's hope there. My garbage bin, no, not garbage bin, compost bin rescue. The Monstera has put out a growth point. It's about that long now. It's about 6 inches long. Yep, forming little roots. The snake plants are, well, most of it rotted away, but 2 or 3 of the leaves, which I cut off and then put them back in the water, they're now producing little roots, so that's coming fine. And then the hibiscus, it's upstairs. It was outside all what was left of summer and early autumn till the weather started getting cold. So it's now upstairs by the south-facing window, and it has produced some new leaves. It is producing new growth from the sides. So, when there is a significant amount of growth, we'll do an update on that plant for you. So, yep, that's Alocasia longolobia. Once again, it's on a leaf that has leaves. Sorry for the squeaking. Wheels. Now, the elephant in the room. The elephant. I cannot. Move you back. Move back, guys. The monster's coming through. It's not called a monstera for nothing. There we go. Look. Look at that. Look at that. Let's get closer. Look, this is my Monstera Thai constellation. I bought it 2 years ago when I moved in here. So it was like I bought myself like a moving in gift, a birthday gift. It had 3 leaves and they were little, but they weren't juvenile leaves. They were fenestrated, they had the mottling on them. So I don't know, but it's, what is it? 1, 2, 4 foot tall, 1.5 meters tall, whatever. Absolutely beautiful. Now, its leaves, I have tied them back to the post. The post is a birch tree that had fallen in a storm, a young one. So I cut the bottom and the top off, and now I have a nice straight pole. It's in pon, so I have wrapped the bottom of the pole in cling wrap so that it's not damp, so it won't root on me. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it has the secondary fenestrations. Oh, look, that is the most recent leaf that it put out about. You can't see it. Put out about a month ago. Look, but there's a new one coming out. There's a competitor coming out. Let's turn you around. Here's the new one coming out. And I think it's going to have a lot of white in it. I think so. Because the sheath was highly, highly variegated. And I do love it. I think this is going to be the biggest leaf ever, and it's going to have the highest amount of white in it. Never had a problem with this plant. I do from time to time cut off the aerial roots, but some of the aerial roots, this is a clever plant. It has no problems, cognitive problems. Some of its aerial roots were very clever and they wrapped around the pole. Some of the aerial roots go down into the soil substrate, into the pond. Some of them, at least 1, 2 of them, have wrapped around completely around the pole. I'm hanging on. I'm not going to fall. It's sort of, the pole is here, and as you can see here, it's sort of growing away from the pole. And I don't know what to do, but I'll work it out. I'll work it out. Because I want it to go up the pole. I don't want it to wander off to the left or to the right. But look, this, I don't know. I think if I moved to another country and I had to fly there, I think for this plant, I'd book an extra ticket and have it sitting on the seat next to me in the plane. Laugh at me if you will. I don't know how I could part with this plant. No. If at all possible, it would be on the plane with me, sitting next to me on the plane. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it has not given me an ounce of worry from the very, very, very first day. Nothing, ever. I have seen other people struggle, that their touch wood, that their Monstera Thai constellation, it starts growing, it grows okay for a while, and then boom, something goes wrong. Usually root rot. I don't know. This has always grown in pure pon, in a self-watering. quite a lot of the aerial roots have gone down into the pond. The other aerial roots are trying to strangle the pole that it's up against. But this, don't know, the top leaf, you see, I'm out of focus, out of range now. It's way up there. This is the new leaf. Well, if it spreads out and grows up, in theory, it should be taller than this one. So then it might be close to 2 meters tall. Now, what am I going to do when this one hits the ceiling? Chop and prop. It's the only thing I can do. I would have to chop it at least in half, or at least the top third. I would chop, make sure I've got aerial roots, prop it and put it back in this pot, and sell the bottom part. I wouldn't want to chuck it in the compost. Oh no. But you know, that's life. Maybe it just has good genetics, and it gets good light. It's just about 2 meters from the south-facing window. That's why all the leaves are facing in this particular direction. Well, facing towards the window. Don't know where to put it in the room where I could look at those lovely leaves. It would, a lot of rearranging in the room, and I've filled this room with plants and bric-a-bracs and knickknacks and lifetime memories. I don't have any more space. You know, I tried to cram a few more plants in here and there, but you know, anyway, this is of all my plants, I don't know, this is my pride and joy, especially since it's from myself to me, my housewarming plant and my birthday gift to myself 2 years ago. And in 2 years, which was a little plant down here somewhere, and all of this is in 2 years. You know, even in winter, it puts out a new leaf. Slightly longer apart time for the leaves to come out, but I don't have any problems with this plant. And no pests. It's a little bit too heavy to take, you know, every now and then upstairs into the shower and give it a shower down. So it does take me a while to wipe down the leaves to keep the dust off, you know. Too much dust on the leaves, it's like a filter against the sun and it won't photosynthesize properly. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, folks, hey, now listen, do me a favor. If you are watching this channel, please press like. Please, if you're not subscribed, please press subscribe. It costs you nothing to do it. And it helps me. I have this personal goal to reach 1,000. And, you know, every now and then there's a spurt of people subscribing. And I'm really grateful for that. Grateful to all my subscribers. And I just have this personal goal. I just want to see 1,000 at least, a number with that's more than in the hundreds. But I can only do that because I did see once that one of my videos, there were like over 2,000 views, and like at that time I had like 400 subscribers. Really? If you watched it, subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. You will do me a favor. And don't forget like. Because, you know, I'm a no-nonsense subscriber. I'm not into advertising anything. You know, depends what the offer is, but you know, I did get an offer from a company that I bought something from recently to offer a discount, but it was nothing to do with plants. You know, it was wallets and bags. I don't like watching a YouTube channel that is about plants and growing plants, and some of the adverts, okay, yes, some people whose life depends, whose source of income is YouTube, yes, you have to advertise sometimes to make some extra money, but this is my opinion, keep the advertising to do with plants, either with lighting, either with fertilizers or pots or whatever, but keep it. I don't want to watch an advert on a plant channel about shoes or about mattresses or beds or furniture. No, I don't. So that's why you know, no, not really interested. It's a no-nonsense. There are so many channels about potting plants up and repotting plants and etc. etc. I'm not going to bore people with stuff that you can see on a lot of really great channels. My mission is to show you how me, Australian, living in a very cold northern Eastern European country, how I cope with my indoor plants and which ones are doing well and which ones I've kissed goodbye. And sometimes I look at the list of the kissed goodbyes, and quite a few of them are in the Hoyer list, which is something I can never get. But eventually, for most plants, you do find that golden moment when you've sorted it out. You've sorted out how much light it needs. You've sorted out what soil it likes best. You've sorted out how much water it likes. And of course, with watering, it's not necessarily the amount you water. No. It's how often you water. Because, I mean, I don't let any of my plants, except for the ones that are in self-watering, I never give the pot any more than a cup of water. And then I check the cash pot or cash po or whatever it's called, but the cover pot, and to make sure that the bottom of the pot, unless it's meant to have water in it, doesn't have water in it, because that's a good way to start rooting your plants. Anyway, let's start. Yeah, I have to start preparing for Halloween, because this neighborhood I'm in, they're full of children everywhere. They're like mushrooms after a rainstorm in summer. They're sprouting everywhere. And for the 2 years that I've been here so far, yes, I've been the Wicked Witch of the North and been out there and scared a few little kids and started crying but they all want the sweets, so for the trick or treat. But yeah, well, what can you do? Either I sit there and sit in darkness and pretend there's nobody home and don't turn on any lights. That's a bit stupid. They'll all be pressing the doorbell, trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat. Well, this year I've got another costume in mind, so might surprise them or shock them or whatever. But anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope all of your plants are growing well. And don't worry if one or two goes south. Learn from it. Learn from it. Learn about soil, watering, fertilizing, and the light. And eventually you will find out the sweet spot. There will always be some losses. You know, I mean, one of the plants I could never, ever grow is the peace lily. No. And now I have a miniature peace lily in the bedroom. And it's going fine. It's a little bit like I said, it's a little bit like the Schismatoglottis. I notice when the leaves just start to drip, that's it, it needs a drink. Doesn't like being overwatered, whereas the Schismatoglottis doesn't care about being overwatered. You can't overwater a Schismatoglottis, especially if it's in pon. Can't. Because if it's in pon, it'll probably have water roots rather than soil roots. So that's it. Anyway, stay safe wherever you are. Keep away from the dreaded, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, this flu season is approaching. I've had my jabs for the flu season, so, you know, hopefully I'll be protected. I'm a believer in science, so anyway, take care and we'll see you next time, okay? So ciao everybody, bye.